I've built a multi-million pound property portfolio from zero. I've done over 400 property deals, and my property business makes the high six figures a year. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you the secrets as to exactly how I did that. Here's how. We are now going to my area. This is the area where all my other properties are. They're all in one specific place because then I can manage it and control it better. So before I got into property, I was a project manager. So I was working in London, away from home. I was working for some really high-end clients such as the royal family and spending Monday to Thursday in hotels, dining alone, wasn't enjoying what I was doing. And then it got me to a point where mentally I couldn't do that job anymore and I chose to quit my job. Now, actually, I'm quite a risk-averse person, so that is completely out of character for me. So I thought, if I'm going to spend all this money, not that I had any money, but if I'm going to spend money on property and take what I thought to be big risks, then I need to understand. So I did all the free stuff, you know, YouTube, Google, Audible books, podcasts, all that sort of stuff. You know, the free advice is worth every penny. This is my first ever property. So I bought this house for £105,000 back in late 2016. Admittedly, I made some mistakes with this house because it was my first ever purchase. I bought it for 105, but it was only worth 105. The great thing about this is that even though I made some mistakes with this property has appreciated much more than all my other ones because it's in a nicer area. This property is now worth about £200,000. Now remember, I bought it for £105,000, so it's pretty much doubled in value in the time that I've owned it since late 2016. Now, the great thing about this is I've done nothing other than own it. So capital appreciation means that it has doubled in value. Property is like a bad haircut. If you make a mistake, it will grow out. So when I first put the tenants into this property, the rent was £695 a month. Now the rent on this property is £1,200 a month. So the rent has doubled in the last 8 years. And I'm going to let you into a little secret. You don't need any of your own money to get into property. I'm going to be telling you about how I did that a little bit later in the video. But right now, let's go and have a look at another one. In the whole 8 years that I've been packaging deals, I've probably done over 500 deals. On average, I make about £15,000 each deal. The first thing that you can do is you can sell a deal onto an investor for a fee. You can offer to do the refurb and they use your refurb team and you make money that way. Or if you can work out how you can take the profit for yourself, that's where the game changes because you can make tens of thousands of pounds for one deal by being able to leverage the equity that you negotiate in the deal or the value that you create in the deal. And that is where deal packages then go from making a couple of grand here, a couple of grand there inconsistently to making hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. And that is where the game really changes. This is the second property that I ever bought. So the biggest difference with this property is that I learned a lot of lessons from the first one. So I bought this property using none of my own money. I used investor finance to buy it cash, to also fund the refurb, put a mortgage on it, and then paid my investor back. And then I refinanced it for £160,000. So this house owes me nothing. The most amount of money I've ever made from packaging a deal was £100,000 fee. I charged £100,000 for packaging an entire portfolio. So we're talking a whole street of HMOs, which I packaged onto an investor and charged £100,000. But she stood to make over £750,000 in profit from buying it through me. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. This property is a little bit boring because I bought it for £80,000. It needed very little doing to it. So we painted it and carpeted it. Cost about £3,000 to do that. And now it's worth an incredible £130,000. So let me go through the rental numbers on this property. This property rents out for at least £800 every single month. So gross, it's made me nearly £80,000 just in rent since I've owned it. That to me is exciting. Working with investors is the single most important thing you should be doing in property. Learning how to work with investors, how to joint venture, how to offer investors a great return is key, because by leveraging other people's money, that will help you build your property business, your portfolio exponentially. I can remember sitting, watching people who are like me now, back then thinking I would never be able to do that. I would say 90% of it's in here. The reality is I can do that, and I have now done that. I just needed to learn how. So one of the first investors that I ever worked with, I found them by just putting myself out there on social media, telling everyone what I was doing, showing them that I was active. And I remember I did a Facebook post saying, Katie's coming to London. If anyone wants a consultation meeting, comment below. And then I thought, I've now got to go to London and meet these people. So I went and had consultation meetings where I met one of my key investors, and he will happily fund up to £20 million worth. You could buy Nottingham for £20 million. So that allows me to be making my cash offers to be able to beat those that might buy with a mortgage. And we've got this great relationship where if anything were to go wrong, because these things happen, that he understands that I've got the credibility. He's not too concerned if there's delays or if things cost more, if I need a little bit more money to finish off a project. It means I've got this freedom to be able to click my fingers almost, in theory, and borrow the money I need to borrow to do the deals I need to do. And it means more opportunities are put in front of me, and I can therefore, as a result, make more money. This is another one of my properties. Now the tenant has just moved out and we've got the keys. So let's go in and take a look around. This is the lounge area. It needs a full refurb. As you can see, the tenant has they've changed the floors, they've wallpapered, they've tried to make it their home, which we appreciate, but at the same time, that might not be to everybody else's taste, so we've still got to paint the house. Now the floor actually looks really nice, and what they've done is they've left some spares, which is brilliant. Right, so this is the kitchen. It's very, very basic. There are things that it absolutely needs and things that you might get away with. So on the whole, it's got a kitchen, as basic as the kitchen is. It's got tears in the lino, which would need replacing. What you will notice is that the carpet is definitely had better days. So we would look to recarpet the whole property. It needs a repaint because it's just minging, it's dingy, that's definitely the word. The more I look at the windows, the more I'm thinking, this window needs replacing as well. It's blown, it's probably time to just replace the lot. But it's a nice size room, so you could easily get a king size bed in here with significant space either side. And then you've got a built-in wardrobe here, which, okay, it's a bit old fashioned, and there's no thing to hang your clothes on. However, you can put stuff in there. Boiler's looking good though. So this is another one of my properties. I bought this property for £80,000. The great thing about this property is I never did anything to it. So even though we've seen that the tenants added their own touch to things, this property is now worth £120,000. So I bought it for 80, it's now worth 120. So when it's due for a refinance in about 18 months time, I will then look to refurbish it and then get a valuation on the new value. It means there's a big paycheck coming in 18 months time. It's all about playing the long game. If you're looking to get into property, if you're looking to find incredible property deals, or if you're looking to build a portfolio, then you need to download our free Getting Into Property guide. It's going to help you to find the best off-market deals, how to buy, refurbish, refinance, and build a massive portfolio using other people's money. And here's the best bit, it's absolutely free. So do yourself a favor, click the link in the description below and get started in property today. Instead of sitting there watching everyone else make money in property, get started now. The biggest bugbear of my life is when people make this very common mistake. They overestimate the value of a property and they underestimate the cost of a refurb, which means that 9 times out of 10, if they don't get it right or they get one of the two wrong, the whole deal doesn't stack. You've got to learn to do it properly. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and you just throw mud at the wall till something sticks. The best ways to get below market value deals is to get off market properties. I'm not going to sit here and say there's not properties to be had, deals to be had on Rightmove. There are, but they move quick. And chances are 99% of them sell before they've even gone to the market. In addition to that, if they go to the market and you inquire about them, chances are you'll find that they've already sold. So the best deals you will ever do are when you get to speak to the vendor yourself, direct to vendor, and you need to market to those people to get the properties before they go on Rightmove. I had a deal sent to me last night. I looked at it. Someone had agreed a deal. She got a deal over the line, all very excited. Looked at the numbers. The house, she'd agreed it for 250, thinking she got a discount. It's only worth 300 done up and we need to spend 30 on it. That's not a deal. This is the best ever deal that I ever bought. I bought this property for £70,000. I spent £18,000 on the refurb and refinanced it for £135,000, meaning I got more than all my money back. It's refurbished to a really nice standard. It's absolutely beautiful inside. I never have problems finding tenants for it, and it rents out for a nice even £850 a month. So deal packaging is fundamentally finding a property deal. Now we do that in one or two ways. We either find a property below market value, which means discounted, or we find a property that we can add value to. We find motivated sellers, property problems, people problems, and we solve them. We then get the property and we either discount it or we add value to it. And as a result of that, we charge a massive fee and we get paid massive cash flow. For me, on average, I'll make £15,000 a deal. I've got some of my delegates that I've trained that are making £30,000 to £40,000 per deal. So I would do deal packaging over buy-to-let all day long, because the amount of cash flow I make is, I never dreamt of making the money that I make as a result of being a deal packager. On average, I'm bringing in about £30,000 a month. You could make an annual income on just selling one deal. And that to me is game changing. This property is a property that came about from one of my estate agents. So it was an estate agent lead. The great thing about having relationships with estate agents is, if you've got a good enough relationship, they will tell you what the vendor will take for the property. So it's worth 110. Came to see it. I said to the valuer, how much do you think they'll take for it? Now, in theory, they're not supposed to answer that question. So we speak in code, uncrackable code. And he said, what rhymes with Katie? And I was like, 80? £80,000 for this beautiful 3-bed mid-terrace Victorian terrace house. It's had the same tenant in it since the minute we completed on it, and hopefully she'll stay for the long term. This house is now worth in excess of £140,000. £140,000 after I paid 80 for it. And this will rent out for about £900 a month. And so I'm benefiting from the rent. I'm benefiting from it going up in value, and all of this is helping to contribute to my monthly, truly passive income and my wealth building with the capital appreciation as well. What you've seen in today's video is just a small portion of the amount of properties and deals that I have done. It's not always been easy. Sometimes there's been ups and sometimes there's been downs. The most important thing in property is that you get yourself educated. If you want to find the best property deals, if you want to build a portfolio, if you're just looking to get started in property, then I want to give you something that I didn't have. I have created a guide for you. This is going to help you to find the best off-market deals so that you can cash flow from day one and build massive wealth. The link is in the description below. If you've enjoyed today's video, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss one of our videos. I've been Katie Wilson, and I'll see you soon.